All right, so welcome back to the try to get the name. Let me try to get this name down. The long term tournament for Eightfold Abyss Azvaldt for the FF server. This match will be between Animero, who will be the host player on the bottom, against Skychael, the guy with the Japanese name on the top. He's showing off his tournament player swag here with his EU Grand Champion from like 2018, I think. So 2018 and his 2019 World Grand Prix appearance ass swag. So it looks like we have a rune, and I'm trying to figure out what class. I know Skychael has brought Sword and Rune. And I'm trying to figure out what's the second class here. Oh, it was Blood. Okay, it was the top of Vera's hair. So Blood is an interesting place. There's the Handless Blood variant, which is a very budget aggro deck that can be really strong into especially Spell Boost is generally what it's trying to punish, but it's not like guaranteed to win that matchup. I think its best matchup might be a Sword deck. Might be the Sword deck, because Sword cannot play off board, which lets Handless get a lot of things. Wrath, on the other hand, is a more mid-range approach to Blood that is really bad against Sword. So, kind of curious which version, and I believe that you can change your list in this format, so the version of a particular class that you bring can change week to week. So let's see what Animero has brought. But for now, we'll see Animero's Rune against Skychael's Sword with the Go Second card. That's pretty weak. Yesterday, all the host players went first, so Animero drawing the Go Second card isn't that strong. But this Chakram Wizard is a hand from Animero is actually really good, and he's choosing to toss the Chakram Wizard going second. That's really bold, because if Skychael comes out of the gate swinging, then I think he's going to regret tossing the Chakram Wizard, but he does get rewarded with a C-Mail instead. That is one of the targets that you kind of go for at the Spell Boost. Skychael aiming to go for a turn 1 Adherent. This is something that Spell Boost cannot answer going second immediately, because all of their cards that remove a follower cost 2. So Animero is now going to choose to boost 3 cards with that Insight as a very strong Insight, and I think Skychael is going to choose to use the Deep Sea Scout. This is kind of coming with the choice to play the Adherent turn 1, because it would be kind of unwise not to cash in this Evo of the Adherent as a strong tempo play from Skychael. And yeah, his hand looks like he's got plenty of follow-up. This is going to put a lot of pressure on Animero to answer everything Skychael has here. These removal spells are not that efficient because they cost 2 play points, deal 1 damage. But then they've got to come up eventually. The Sacred Bird of Wisdom drawn here for Animero is going to be very helpful in terms of the healing it can do. I think that card is just insanely strong. If let's say Animero draws like an Insight or a Secret's Own Myoto, a 1 cost, then he can then play a 1-drop and then play the 2-drop Sacred Bird of Wisdom to completely wipe Skychael's board. So we are unfortunately not going to see that. The 3-cost Sacred Bird of Wisdom is a little more unwieldy, and it comes with a discard clause, which is kind of your penalty for not hitting exactly 2 play points. So Animero is weighing his options here. You really don't want to play the 2-cost Sacred Bird of Wisdom here, so most likely we're going to see a Magical Strategy plus Sacred Bird for 1, which will then put Meltina in hand to 4 boosts. And then Animero then is really hoping to draw an Angel's Blessing. Oh, he's going to choose to play the Meltina. That's interesting. He really wants to draw more cards, but that is a really expensive option, because I don't know if Skychael really has to respect this. Play Illustrious, or maybe he can choose to, he can just very inexpensively deal with this Meltina, and I'm going to keep applying the pressure to Animero. So I'm not sure I like that. Meltina option from Animero. It draws the most cards, which lets you get more explosive hands, but it is really falling far behind on tempo and plays fewer cards than his other options would have done. And this hand is not looking great. The 5 spell boost Meltina that Animero could have had this turn instead would have given him a lot more removal options than what he has now, and that's going to put him in a bit of a rough spot. So I think what we might see here is Magical Strategy evolve the pawn over either of Skychael's 2/2s, and then the Sacred Bird can clear the rest of the board with its 2 random pings. That would be one way to deal with this situation. It's slow. It might be too slow, unfortunately, but it is probably the only way to fully clear. And if without like a Greater Will or any kind of healing, instead Animero is going to choose the. And what does he discard? He's going to discard the Orchestral Mage. That's not ideal. This evolution of the Sacred Bird of Wisdom is going to recover the Evo point used to it, but this was not a high power play. And had Animero not sniped the Illustrious Thief there, he would have been in an even rougher spot. So it's kind of lucky that it's like what, a 33% chance to miss the bird. So that is what it is. And Skychael looking at a wealth of options. He's in a pretty good spot here. It's like largely owing to the fact that Animero has not played a lot of spells so far, so it's gonna make the spell boosting very slow. It's kind of like you like to see your opponent kind of spending a whole turn playing something like a Sacred Bird of Wisdom, and yeah, so now Sword is just gonna get Maximus, which makes a massive board, and Animero is not in a significantly better spot. He finds a Mari. That would have been a good card maybe like 2 turns ago, unfortunately. And he's just Animero just has to go through a lot of these spells in hand and try to get something done here. Maybe we can start off with a Magical Strategy. I think Magical Strategy and Magic Missile are pretty equivalent here, but Magical Strategy does have the advantage of being evolvable. The Angel's Blessing is huge. That only costs 1, so just play it is basically the best card in Animero's hand here. And that refund on Angel's Blessing is something that Meltina would also get once she's spell boosted enough. But unfortunately, this Meltina has been spell boosted, I think, like twice right now. So she is very far away from being usable. So Animero almost certainly has to go and drop the Angel's Blessing here. Everything else is just too expensive. Opting for the second Meltina in hand. And so this is going to be a Meltina evolving to take care of Octrus here. But I believe, let's see, my Skychael has 5 damage on board right now. With a few more loots, this is just game. The Octrus token will evolve the 6 damage. So Skychael's like 2 damage away from lethal. Yeah, evolving Kagemitsu doesn't do anything here. The second Kagemitsu in hand, I think, would be lethal, because that is, yeah. So that would be 6 damage with the Octrus token. So 2 plus 4 from Max. He doesn't even have to play this Goblet, but he can choose to. Evolve either of his other followers in play. Remnant of Hollowness is going to deal 4 damage. Remnant of Hollowness is also a loot card, so that would have evolved the Adherent for him as well. Yeah, and so this is going to be lethal here with any manual Evo. 4 plus 8 damage on Skychael's board. Just has to play his cards, and he's probably just calculating to make sure. He's a very methodical player with that. Okay, chooses to evolve the Kagemitsu. Maximus would also have done the same thing, but this is cooler. Gets even more damage, I think, because Kagemitsu now does 4 damage after this many Evos. It doesn't even have to play the Remnant of Hollowness. That is going to be a quick game one from Skychael. And so I think Animero did have a bit of a rough start, but not keeping the Chakram Wizard, I feel like, was something you got kind of punished for. When you go second, I think you kind of have to lean on Chakram Wizard to stabilize your board. There are other cards that you'd like to hit with your spell boost, but if you don't live long enough to use them, then it's kind of like it's a kind of a moot point. And Skychael saying in the chat that he forgot you can play Remnant of Hollowness without fusing 4. It was kind of funny because we were playing, like, Octress is a card that's been in rotation for about a year now, and this is like the first time where fusing 4 on her has been actually practical. So not fusing 4 is like a pattern that most sword players have been used to for a bit. Yeah. That part's kind of funny. And so now we're going to see a rune quote-unquote mirror, but I had advanced knowledge that Skychael has brought, in fact, the Sifi. I have to look up the proper pronunciation. Sifi, Sephi, maybe Sephi. Rune, which is a deck that is based on making test subjects. Some of my friends choose to call it some more edgy names, like Full Metal Alchemist Rune, or Nina Rune, to be really on the nose about it. So yeah, and obviously the reference there. Well, I don't think I should have explained it to this particular group. So. But the goal of the Sephi rune deck is to basically keep playing keep putting volunteer test subjects into play, and the more test subjects that you put into play, the stronger they get. Eventually, Sephi herself will grant them Storm, and that's how you win the game. I think it is technically considered to be unfavored into Spell Boost, just because Spell Boost can kind of just ignore the board, and when you don't have enough board spaces to play out your followers as this Sephi rune deck, then it's kind of awkward to try to develop. But this Babkatha draw for Skychael is going to be really good. I think she's probably just like the best play here. Ideally, she buffs the Gilnelise on board here. Gilnelise is kind of like just a source of pressure, not an easy follower to remove, and threatens to do 6 damage on the first Evo turn. So, okay, this Freya is going to go and find a Sephi for Skychael. Kind of interested that he went with the Sacred Bird there instead of fusing the Depraved. Is it Depraved? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember their names. I just remember their stat lines. So let me just look that up real quick. The silver card, the two play 0.01. I think it's like Depraved Researcher. Devoted Researcher. Okay. Damn it. Wrong word that starts with D. Yeah, the Devoted Researcher. That card is generally bad in this matchup or any matchup where you can be board locked, since it is basically just a waste of a board slot, and you kind of have to look for an opportunity to get rid of it. Okay, so, but not putting a step subject into play is also fine. I'm not quite sure what Skychael was digging for with that play. Maybe a Metatron. I think he might be trying to. That would be the justification, is to try to ramp. So what I want to see here is the enchanting spell from Animero being played on the Gilnelise here, because yeah, like this is like okay, this is a lot of draw, and he's definitely digging through his deck, but leaving this Gilnelise to freely attack is really dangerous. But Skychael rips the Metatron, so that's what he was digging for. Metatron is a ramp card that might be. Honestly, though, I think the Metatron might be worse than going for Gilnelise here, and I think Skychael might recognize that. So let's see, fuse a Sacred Bird and the second Gilnelise to make a test subject. So I guess he's going to go full wide here. That spends 2 play points to make a test subject instead of 1. If had Skychael fused the Devoted Researcher in. Oh, right. And now that I'm thinking about it, you have to have 2 play points to make the test subject in the first place, even if it only costs 1. With Sephi's Fusion, so that was not a line that was possible last turn. So digging for Metatron is fine, but the choice between Metatron and Gildan Evos isn't that obvious. I think what I would like is to trade the Wayfaring Goblin in on the Mari, and then play Metatron, but then Evo Gildan face. That. Oh, and okay. Skychael here is going to make the Sacred Bird and Evo face with Freya? Is that... Well, he's going to... Okay, he can distribute his stats to make Freya stronger. That's okay, yeah. Often the pattern with Gildan is to target herself, but choosing to distribute your stats like this can make the board a little harder to deal with for the opponent. Freya is normally a 1/3. Oh, Freya is by being a 1/3 is normally a card that you can kind of ignore when you're trying to board lock your opponent, which is what Animero is going to have to try to figure out how to do over these couple of turns. Animero's hand's actually really strong, so if he can survive a couple of turns by stalling, he's going to be in a really good place. But so let's see how he manages this. This is going to be a pretty tricky turn. Has to handle the random effect here from Meltina. So, okay, Meltina is going to ping not the Gildan, so that's really good for Animero here. And what's likely going to happen is... Oh, he's going to just banish Gildan, okay. And that leaves him with 3 play points, so I would like to see maybe a Magic Missile and Sacred Bird here, just to get rid of as many followers possible and heal. The Sacred Bird is about as good as the Enchanting Spell here, and it's harder to get rid of later on. So this could be putting Animero in a very good spot after this turn. He's going to overdraw after playing the Sacred Bird, but it's probably okay. No, he's going to choose for the Enchanting Spell instead. The only problem with Enchanting Spell is that it doesn't really prevent the full damage that it could, because it's only hitting one thing. But it's okay. Like, hitting the test subject here means that Animero is only going to take 3 from a Wayfaring Goblin Evo. Alrighty. Well, I think Sacred Bird is still slightly better. And what's really awkward, I think, for Animero here is just not having seen a Chakram Wizard. That I think if with this hand, if Animero had like a Chakram Wizard at maybe say 2 spell boosts, he could probably just win in 1 or 2 turns. He's got a lot of spell boost targets in his hand, but with no Chakram Wizard, he's gonna have to work. And that's kind of why I don't want to use the Enchanting Spell now. There's a good chance that Skychael can make a bigger follower on his next turn, and so the Enchanting Spell is going to be better later than now. Oh no! What happened? Connection has been lost. Oh, you hate to see it. Animero's internet has been a problem for him, and yeah. Oh, I don't know. Let's figure out what we do. I think Skychael's saying to replay the game. That seems okay. He's let's see how that goes. I don't have much commentary on that, but I think had Animero played the blue bird there, would have been in a very good spot. That's all I have to say for now. It is what it is. Seems very frustrated with his internet. I don't know if we're still streaming right now. I need to fill airtime. I actually used to there's sometimes there's technical difficulties and other broadcasts, so we end up being told by production to fill airtime as commentators. But hey, so at that game state, Skychael only had 1 test subject, so he actually would have been a couple turns away from actually being able to win the game. Sephi requires you to have created 5 test subjects before she can grant them Storm. So I think keeping a few enchanted spells, and then if Animero draws into a Greater Will or 2, with that hand, He had 4-4-3-3. That's 14 damage. Was there a? I don't think there was a crushing rain. If you drew into like another sea male. Oh no, he had the orchestral mage. Orchestral mage is another 5 damage. So pretty much just needed one more point of damage to win the game with that hand, and the spell boosts. And we're trying to figure out how to make the match go. Oh, I see the hand again. Yeah. So basically, like a crushing rain. A crushing rain in this hand would have been a dub for Animero. All right. Looks like we're gonna get a rematch. So alrighty, so gonna get a lobby rehost here. Bum, bum, bum. Alrighty. Looks like the lobby is back underway. Alrighty. So it looks like we're gonna get back underway with the rune mirror between Animero and Skychael. Was an insight kept by Animero. And now we've got the turn order reversed. I kind of prefer keeping it the other way around. So Secret Bird of Wisdom, because it's like a clunky card to play later on. If you're going to keep anything, I'd rather keep that over the Insight if you intend to play it turn 1. So turn 1 Insight from Animero is going to boost 1 Crushing Rain here. And Skychael is going to start fusing into the Sephi. Targeting the Babkatha is interesting. Whoa. I don't think you want to fuse 3 cards there. That's a little wild. Babkatha's probably, Babkatha draws a card and buffs the test subject. So in this kind of matchup where your opponent is going to try to like keep you from going, try to limit you on how tall you can go on board, and board lock you, having like a 3/3 instead of a 2/2 is just a massive deal. And so let's see how Animero handles this. Probably looks like he's going to magic missile this test subject and threaten to clear it with magical strategy. And next turn, but this is why. Oh, draws the Chakram Wizard. That's really important. With 2 different artworks of Secrets of Onmyoto in hand as well for Animero. All right, but yeah, see and now the Babkatha here is now going to do a lot of work by getting this test subject out of range of another 1 play point ping. But these two Chakram Wizards in hand for Animero now, that is going to be really strong in terms of allowing him to clear the board in a couple of turns. So for now, what I'd like to see is, he's going to go and choose to use the Secrets of Onmyoto. I kind of would have liked to see, I think he's going to do this into Sacred Bird of Wisdom. But yeah, right. And then that's going to clear the board here, which is going to prevent a lot of damage. But maybe it might have been better to go for Story of a Lifetime, because right now Animero has like very small hand size, and so expanding your hand size or drawing into your cards that draw into more cards like Meltina is going to allow him to make more plays. Right now Animero has a hand that clears the board, but just clearing isn't actually going to do just clearing the board isn't going to actually allow him to win. So but it's going to keep him safe for now. So let's see how Skychael navigates this. And he's got 2 Cephis in hand. There's a fusion with the first one. It looks like he could just choose to fuse again here. Another option here for Skychael would be to go and play the Angelic Star Sister, which puts a follower. There's just a follower you can fuse away in hand. But I think he's going to just fuse here with the Star Sister and the Sacred Bird. Just pump out as many test subjects as he can. And this is currently his 3rd one, which means next his next two test subjects. Well, all the test subjects from now on have rush, and after Skychael makes two more, they will also be 5/5s instead of 2/2s. So it's very good progress for him. Okay, and we're gonna see the story of a lifetime now coming out from Animero. We're just going to draw into 2 spell boost cards. That's really good. Mari, in particular, is another way to hit more spell boost cards. And what Animero would really like is a way to hit Meltina in... Because the biggest problem for Animero right now is just the lack of hand size. So maybe I could see something like Evolve the Sacred Bird here. Evolve the Sacred Bird here, Secrets on Mari, and then play Crushing Rain. Definitely want to evolve the bird before you're out of play points, because that recovers you. That would recover the Evo point used to evolve the bird, and it's just more stats on board. I do not want to see this Chakram Wizard. It looks tempting, but it's too early to play Chakram Wizard here. Okay, so we see the evolve on the Sacred Bird. Trade over. Okay, that's good, but don't play the Chakram Wizard. No. Oh. I mean, this makes a strong board, but that's not what you need in this matchup, unfortunately, for Animero. Okay, but this is going to allow him to play the Mari here, so that's okay, yeah. Hopefully this hits a Meltina. Oh, a C-Mail, and that's why it's so awkward, because now Animero's hand just kind of ends here. Really needs to hit an Angel's Blessing or something that just refills his hand, Animero does. And speaking of hand refill, Skychael is going to have no trouble with that. Obsessive Scholar is going to go and pull another Obsessive Scholar out of the deck. She finds any condemned card once she's been fused. And I believe Skychael here can now fuse... Let's see. He's like under a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't look that scary. So I think he fuses the... I think he actually hits in with this test subject in play right now. Then, okay, you can also evolve to give it Drain, because what he's going to do is draw a random card off of this test subject hitting into the Sacred Bird, and that will give him another follower to fuse, and then you can fuse that with the Gilnelis. Use Sephi, fuse that with the Gilnelis. Okay, or just play the 2 cost here. Yeah, that's better than fusing. I mean, it's equivalent at this point, because and that's gonna be a clear, and now Skychael is at... That was his 5th volunteer test subject, which means all of them from now on are 5/5s, and Sephi will give them Storm. So already threatening from this board to do 12 more damage next turn with the Evo, and lining up for a turn 7 lethal, so provided that he doesn't use the Evo point, or that he finds an Olivia and Sylvia. So that is kind of Skychael's angle here. Meanwhile, Animero draws the Orchestral Mage. That is not what he wants to see. That doesn't give him any more spells. He hasn't dug deep enough in his deck for this to work. This is a huge problem. Yeah, just not having hit enough card draw with spell boost is really awkward here. I think Animero is going to try to make some plays here to get Skychael playable as soon as possible, but that's just not happening here with Raining Blades at 3 play points as well. Okay, but this is like as much pressure. He hits the... I think he hits Storm on the Orchestral Mage at least, so that's at least some damage, yeah. But I think the saving grace for the saving grace for Animero here is that by playing so aggressively, he might be at least forcing Skychael to react a bit, and that's gonna give him a little more wiggle room for the Sephi deck. Just completely overwhelms him on board. Let's see, so like Researcher into Gilnelis into Sacred Bird here. Okay, that's good. This is a pretty big threat here. Definitely threatening 15 points of damage from hand now. If right, Sephi can fuse the 2, fuse a random follower, since Skychael's deck is all followers, random follower plus Devoted Researcher, and then the second Sephi can fuse the first Sephi and the Devoted Researcher next turn, and then play the Sephi. That is 3 test subjects, which all have Storm. So if this board is not cleared, then Animero will be staring down lethal. And it's looking like Animero cannot clear this board. Oh, it's so awkward that, wait, no, because Mari has to trade herself to spell boost the Raining Blades, and there's no target for Raining Blades, so that is just going to be game. And now Sephi fuses. There's 2 Sephi fuses, each of which use a Condemn Follower. It's going to make 2 5/5 test subjects, and then when Sephi is played, she makes another 5/5 test subject, and then all the 5/5 test subjects will have Storm, and Gilnelise will be the last 2 points of damage. Let's just make sure to use 1 Condemn Follower in each of these fusions, at least 1. If Skychael does not pick 2 Condemn Followers here, he will not have enough play points to lethal. Or pick at least 1 Condemn Follower here. So I think he is just making sure to make the right choice. He almost picked the only 2 non-Condemn Followers in his hand. Oh no, wait, that is a lethal miss. Probably. Well, okay, never mind. This is chat lethal. I missed that Animero had healed to 19, so it's not quite a lethal miss. But it's still interesting he chose to fuse the Olivia and Sylvia. Yeah, I spoke too soon. I forgot the healing there from the Bluebird. It's like getting way ahead of myself, misremembering the life values. Okay, so Animero still has a life for another turn. I'm gonna have to play the Seamail and Raining Blades. This is like required to play this Raining Blades, yeah. But this is just not gonna be quite enough. There's an argument. Okay, I was gonna say there's an argument for trading before hitting the Raining Blades to increase the odds of hitting the Gilnelise, since that's the only follower that can be cleanly removed. And I guess the optimization here technically is to trade over Sephi instead of either test subject. Oh, he's going face instead. Okay, as bold, a 911 follower on board, but it is ultimately not going to be enough. Animero is unfortunately just at too low of a life total without trying to contest the board, and just a devoted researcher making 2 test subjects is going to be a clear on this Seamail and lethal from Skychael. So my bad on the calling out Skychael there. Still think it would have been slightly better. I don't know. It's too all in to fuse your second Sephi. So just going in for the 12 damage in such a commanding position is going to be good enough. And yeah, so that is going to be a pretty quick win from Skychael. Unfortunately, Animero just ran out of cards in his hand, and that is a huge problem to have when you're playing Spell Boost. That's why it's important to hit your card draw and then play your payoff cards. So I think that is going to be the match. So Skychael takes this match 2-0 with the Sword and the Rune picking on Animero's Spell Boost. And that is going to be it. I probably need some coffee. And the connection issue was, of course, very unfortunate. Looks like Animero's been having an awkward connection all day. I hope it gets better, because I know it's very frustrating to have bad internet, and I think that's all we need to broadcast today. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks again to Shuka for doing the observation stuff, so I can just go off the cuff, and that'll be it. Goodbye.